Mr. Secretary, thank you for coming here and for sitting with us. And I wish you good health and a speedy recovery. We had a conversation earlier this week where I expressed my disappointment in some of the decisions that were made by you and by your team, and my personal experience being a young lieutenant in the military, and what I would have expected my own self to do in those circumstances. But that's not what we should be talking about today. What we should be talking about is, rather than your health or those decisions that were made around them that are putting us as a nation and us as a world in peril, rather the inactions of Congress right now, and specifically this House right now, and specifically the Speaker of the House, Mr. Johnson, right now, is putting us and this world in peril. Last evening when I left votes, it was dark and it was raining, and I was intercepted by some people with Ukrainian flags, and one held a sign that said, "It's 1939 again." And it really struck me and literally brought tears to my eyes, because it really genuinely is, and not an exaggeration to say that it's 1939 again. When I was in Lithuania earlier this month with one of the undersecretaries of Ministry of Defense, he also was near tears with his concern about what would happen if Ukraine fell, and what would happen to places like Lithuania, Estonia, Moldova, and Europe. When I was recently in the Horn of Africa with a gentleman who had served honorably in our military and was now a contractor with our defense services, he bemoaned, was worried about the fact that he would not allow his now 15-year-old ever to serve in the military for fear that he would die in combat. Because I believe he was thinking that because it is indeed 1939 again. So what are we doing? We are sitting here for hour upon hour of time that the 50 of us and the 435 of us could be spending voting on things like Ukraine and the Ukraine supplement, so that we can prevent 1939 from happening again. So my questions to you, real briefly, is whether you could reflect on how our allies are perceiving this from a DoD's perspective, and whether you are concerned whether Russia might continue on in its war in the continent, and whether she is watching.
Our allies are troubled by the message that we're sending in a failure to support Ukraine, and certainly it has impacted the morale of the Ukrainian troops. If we continue down this path, it'll be a gift to Putin, and we certainly don't want that to happen. And then as others look at this, they will question whether or not we are a dependable ally or dependable partner. And that's very troubling for us as well.
So I only have a little bit more time, and I don't frankly think I need all of it, because in hours, just mere hours, this House will adjourn yet again, having accomplished literally nothing. We will not have voted for the supplemental. We will not have voted to support you in the DoD through proper appropriations. History will and history should judge us, our inactions. I really don't want to be right. I really don't want this to be 1939 again. I just want to be able to vote on the supplemental and on funding our government. And with that, I yield back.
Chair now